So, very good afternoon to all the participants. I am Leander Carvalho and I feel privileged to welcome you all in Multicon 2022. The main goal of AAC student chapter is to encourage the members of to study civil engineering and to advance the profession of civil engineering. We have already started with the basics of MATLAB and Sir has already shared all his knowledge on it. So, participants, if you have any questions during the session, you can either unmute and ask, and or else you can just drop your doubts in the chat box. So, yes, sir, you can begin with the session, sir.
Thank you. So, this is our workshop outline. We have done major part of it. Now we are only left with using MATLAB as a programming language. We have just started it using scripts, and I will move directly to session 3 because we have done after this where we have tried to use the simple scripts and run the scripts from the command window. Okay. Let's now start the scripting in its actual way. It should be done. Just give me a minute. I have received some. Okay. So we had run this script where we called some matrix and we solved the system of linear equations. Now we will begin with the session 3rd where we look at the functions. Okay. So first of all, we have seen what are the scripts. These are just the sequential command list of commands which are contained in any file. Similar are the functions. These are similar to scripts with file extension .m. And these are the programs are what is the difference? Like it is a sequence of commands. While as the functions, these are similar to the scripts, but they accept certain inputs and produce one or more outputs. Like each function has its own area of workspace. Like I will let you know about this. What does this mean? Let's see. Earlier, like we have this. Now we will do everything from the scripting, not in the command window. Earlier we have this function is a, and I had solved it for the eigenvalue analysis, and I had written my vectors, values equal to EIG of A. Let's suppose that I don't need these things. I'll run the script. So script is here. These are the eigenvectors and these are the corresponding eigenvalues. Let me change the contents of a matrix so that the eigenvalues come out to be real. Let me try with this. Oh yes. So for this eigenvalues, there is eigenvectors are the real numbers. It depends on the type of matrix. We are not going to define that here. So vectors and the values. What exactly is this? Here we are just writing a command and calling a function eigen. EIG is actually an inbuilt function. A is the input matrix. A is the input to this function. So when we call this function, we need to give an input. It produces an output, like multiple outputs. Here it produces the eigenvectors as well as the eigenvalues. This is what I mean. Each and it accepts a certain input argument and produces one or more output. This is just an example of the eigenfunction. Similarly, because when the function is called EIG, it performs a lot of computations. Okay, and it has its own workspace where these variables are assigned and all the computations are carried out. And finally, in my workspace, only the outputs are saved. VCT and VAL, you can see that. In between, MATLAB would have conducted a lot of computations. It would have assigned a lot of variables, but that are not stored. Like those are, when I call the function, one another separate workspace is actually called upon, and all are temporarily saved in that until and unless I get the outputs. So only outputs are stored at the end. This happens with both the inbuilt functions, and sometimes I will create my own functions from the MATLAB, which we will see soon. Okay, so we have already tried a lot of user-defined functions like sine of x. All these are functions. Like we have seen determinant of a. Okay, run. Let's suppose that I don't need it now. Determinant of a is 6. This is in fact in itself a function. So we have solved we have used a lot of functions so far, which we call as inbuilt function. Okay. So usually when we call the functions, how we write our own functions. Okay, we will come to this in a minute. So what is the difference between scripts and functions? These are some major differences, because scripts, they do not accept input and argument. We just run them. That's it. This is overall, this whole is called as script. Okay, this stores variables in a workspace that is shared with other scripts like this. If I write some other script, then run that script, the workspace in this script and this script will be common. It will overwrite if there are some variables already. Okay, and these are useful when we automate a series of commands. And functions, they also accept input arguments and return us some output arguments, as they are seen with the eigenfunction or the determinant function. Like it is output as determinant and the input is any matrix, and it stores variable internal to the function in the workspace, which is internally assigned to the function, not in the outside. Only this works on in this workspace. Only outputs which we desired outputs are saved, and these are useful to extend MATLAB as a language, as a programming language for our own application wherever we want to apply it. Okay, so there's something we call as input. For example, I want to calculate the area of or average of numbers. Okay, let me write a script. Average of numbers. I will clear my this. I will this. Yes, I don't know the exact syntax of input. It will show me. Just see what will happen. Let's see what I am doing. I will explain. Okay. So my problem is I just want to calculate the average of the three numbers, but I don't know what are the numbers. Okay, I want to create a program which will calculate with the average of three numbers. How do we calculate the average? Like sum divided by the total number divided by n. So I want my user to input, because when I will run this command, it will ask the user to input the first number. As he or she inputs the first number, then it will go to the second line to ask the user to input us enter your second number. Similarly, input will in this user will input the second number and it will ask for third number. After this is done, it will then calculate the average and show it on your. Let's try it out. Okay, I'm running this. Let me first save it. Script 2. I will write its name as script 2. So once I am writing it, it's showing me enter your first number. Okay, this is not completely done. Enter your first number. I will write 2. Sorry, I should have been here. I will write 2. Enter. Enter your second number. 5, 20. Third number. It will tell me average is 9 because 2, 5, 20, 27. So average will be 9. Did you get my point? What I try to say here? For example, I want to do some other things. Okay. Let us suppose that I want to calculate the difference between the two numbers. Okay. So I will comment this DIFFARENC difference between two numbers, but I want absolute difference. Like one and if I want to calculate difference between one and two, it could be plus one or minus one. If I calculate one minus two, it is minus one. If I calculate two minus one, then it is one. But the difference is one. Okay. Then what I will do is I will calculate. I will ask my. I will when I will run this, it will ask input to user to input first number and then second number. It will calculate difference from those two numbers. How will I calculate this? First of all, I will calculate the difference between the second number and the first number. But you to see what will happen. But I want my difference to be positive. It shows, let us say that first number is 2, second number is 8. It tells you that difference is 6. Okay. Now you want to run this again sometimes for some different numbers. It will tell you enter your first number. So my first number will be 5. Second number will be 2. The difference is minus 3. I don't want a difference like that. I want a difference as absolute difference. What I will do is I will write here mod. We know when we take the mod, so I can write here absolute. ABS means absolute of the value. Just see. ABS means absolute whatever is inside. Inside is the difference between the two numbers. It could be either positive or negative, based on the which one I put as first number, which one I put as second number. So it will calculate the difference as absolute. Now just check it out. Run. I will input the first number 2 and 9. So expected difference is down as obvious. Now I will input the number as in the reverse, like 49. I have to write in the command window 49, and the second number is 25. So earlier difference would have been minus 24, but now it shows 24 because I have used it absolute. Okay, this is how we take advantage of scripts. Now I want to create a function, user defined function. Okay, I have to simply what I am supposed to do, just go back to the editor, just create a function, and in place of the first command line in the function should be like this. Okay, first of all, I have to write some name to the function. For example, let me take you an example that I want to calculate the area of a trapezoid. So what are the inputs which I need to calculate the area of a trapezoid? Can someone tell me?
A, B, and
A, B, and H, right?
yes.
So I will create a function which will calculate the. I will just create a function which will calculate the area of a trapezoid based on the inputs. Okay. First of all, I need to identify my inputs and outputs. So my inputs would be three: first side, second side, the two parallel sides, and the height between the two. And output will be my area, and as well as the, let us suppose, perimeter. I will also calculate the. Let's not calculate the perimeter here. Let's just do the single output. Then we will move to the other, so there are multiple outputs. So I have to write it in this way. First of all, I have to start like this. I have to write function, then outputs. What I want my outputs. Okay. So I will write my output as area underscore trapezoid, TRAP. Okay. What I want my function name. I want my function name to be ARTRAP. Let's suppose, yeah, area trapezoid. And my inputs will be three. I can name it anyone, x1, x2, x3. Let me suppose that I will write it A, so C, B, H. Just for so that it, and every function will be followed by H. Whatever you have to do inside the function, that you have to do inside this function and inside this end. Now, I will write my actual setup here. What I need to calculate, I just need to inside do the calculation which will perform on A, B, and C. So area is actually equal to AREA, area underscore, I need to use the same here, equal to A plus B, right, divided by 2, or let us suppose into H divided by 2. This is the formula, right? So I can use it, call it from the other segment. But when I save this script which contains the function, I need to save it, control S. I need to save it with the same name as the function name. What is the function name? Area trap. Control C, control S, control V. If I do not save it with the same name, it will not work. So then you have to make sure that whenever you save a function, you have to save it with the same name as the function name. Now I have my, let us suppose I have another script I am creating. Okay, script 3. Okay, I know my. Let's suppose I am calculating area is equal to AREAPP of, what are the inputs I need? A, B, and H. I will just write 1, 2, 4. Okay. If I just run it, area trap is actually the function name, because it could not recognize the area TP, because what I have named the function as area trap. So I will rerun the script. You can see answer is 6. So similar, what I have done is I have created a function which is stored in the same directory like this. This function asks for the user, it needs 3 inputs, A, B, and H. The first input which I give to this function here is 1, is stored as A. When I call this function, it goes to this script and sees what is here A, and it assigns this A as a 1. Then it goes back and assigns this B, assigns B the value of 2. Similarly, the 4 is assigned to C, and this and this area is my output variable. Okay, this is the output variable, and in this function, my output area is area TP. So whatever is stored in the area TP, that will be assigned to the area. Did you get my point? So what has happened is that when it calculates, for example, I need to calculate area of trapezoid multiple times for different triangles. So I will not need to write these formulas or this script again and again. I have saved it once and then calculating area of one is equal. Let's suppose this is some another triangle. Area of CRAP of 2, 5, 15. And I am running the script. It is showing me 52.5 is the answer. Okay, now I want to see after I clear CLC and clear, all this is getting cleared in my command window. Okay, all the workspace is getting cleared. When I call the area and the area of trapezoid, it only stored these two variables: area one, area and area one, area and area one. So you have seen that the variables here, A, B, H, area, trap, which I have calculated here, these were assigned during the function, but they were not stored in this workspace. That is what I meant when I said that each function has its own area workspace. Like it does not interfere with this workspace. You can use if you have used this in this script, you can even use the same variables inside. Okay, the only thing you should care about is inputs and outputs, not this A, B, and all that. Now, I want to create a function, another function. Suppose that I want to create a function which will convert, like I will give that function an input into the Fahrenheit, or it will convert, it will tell me the temperature into centigrade. What will I do? First of all, I will write function. This is the syntax, how I write. Then I will write output. Okay, I will write, let us suppose PMP underscore centigrade equals. Now what I will do is I will write some function name. Function name will be, I can keep it anything. Let us suppose that I am keeping it conversion. Conversion F to C. And F to, what does it mean? F to C conversion. Now, what are the inputs I need? I only need one input. That is, what is the temperature in Fahrenheit? If I know the temperature in Fahrenheit, I will be able to calculate the temperature in centigrade. And I know I have the formula. Okay. So what I will do is I will write here something. Okay. What I will write is I will write C equals 5/9 into then bracket F minus 32. Okay. Am I done? I think I am done. But let me see what happens. Okay. If I save this, it will tell me to save it, but I need to save it exactly with the same name as this. .m is necessary at the end. Okay. So I need to save it with this. See, when I use the MATLAB editor, it shows me something. Okay. Like there is some issue with this line 1. It shows that this function might be unset because I am whatever value I will set in this variable inside the function, that will be my output. But here I am not doing that. So something is missing. And it's also showing me, it's so clever that it's showing me the value you are assigning to the variable c, it might be unused. You might not be using it somewhere. So this is the power of using scripts and functions. So I have calculated c. Now I want to assign this value of c to this TMP. Now everything is set. It shows me that it will be printed, but I don't want to print it. So I just click, just right here, semicolon, suppress the output. Now I will go to this. What I will do is I want to, I will write now script with the input as well. Earlier I had written. Let's see what I will do. TMPF, temperature Fahrenheit, is equal to enter your you need to look, you need to see how actually the things process, how actually the things go in loop, what exactly each line does. If you are able to understand this, if you are able to correlate what each line does, then it will be easy for you to learn the other things. You see, you might have not, you might now see. I will run this script. Okay. Just let me know what I am expecting from this script. I am expecting this from this thing that it will. Let us write this first. I am expecting that this will clear a whole of my workspace. Then it will clear my command window. Then it will ask me to, this line will ask me to input, it will write in the command window that enter your temperature in Fahrenheit. I will input some number. After I input some number, it will ask me to, then it will assign that number to TMPF. Okay. Then it will call the function conversion F to C, and with the input TMPF, okay, like this, and calculate the, then it will go to this function, calculate the C and assign it to TMP set C. And finally, the TMP set C will be assigned to my temp C, which is my output variable. So what I expect is temp C will give me the conversion, like in temperature in centigrade. And then DESP is the command which I use to display some variable on the command window. So what is the difference? Like I could have used it like this as well. I could have used this without, with that also display. We will see what is the difference. Okay, let me run the script. It did exactly what it did. It cleared the workspace. It cleared the command window. Then now it asks me to enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. I will say him my is temperature in Fahrenheit is 101. Okay, and it shows me that TMPC is 38.33 or 38.33. So this value is, this line is doing this part, like it is writing TMPC is equal to 38.33, and this DISP, this is doing only, it is showing only this. Let me tell you the difference. Okay. First of all, I am not doing this. When I run this, I have 102 as a Fahrenheit temperature. It will show me that your temperature is in the centigrade degree is 38.889. It also shows me the variable in which it is contained and what it equals. Okay. Now, what will I do is I will suppress this output and use display command instead. I do not want to have a variable inside this command window. I just want the value. I already know what is this. So I will use the display command 105 it will tell me like this. So I automatically means that my temperature in the centigrade degree is 40.566 because I'm changing the temperature in Fahrenheit again. Okay. Similarly, what you can do is, for example, now you see that, oh, this is not like self-explanatory. How is it? Earlier it was a little bit self-explanatory, MPC. What I will do is I will use the printf command because whenever I try to write something to the command window, I will usually use printf. It means that I am printing something to the command window. Okay, this is the syntax, and I will write it as a string, which I will write it in this. Okay, I will write your temperature converted to mm, Celsius scale is. Then I will display this. Let's see what will happen. It will display this, but before this, it will put this line to the command window, and this will make my code something good. Okay, I am entering my Fahrenheit temperature 100. It shows me that under your temperature converted to the scale is 37.778. So these were the two out commands which I used in so that which outputs to my command window. Okay. Now I have one another example which I want you to practice, but given the lack of time, earlier I had planned that uh, I will float a Google Sheet and send you a link where you can submit. But since now this workshop, which was actually earlier planned for the 4 sessions, now it needs to be completed within the three sessions only. So I want you to calculate, define a matrix in a script, okay, and then find the trace of A. No, sorry, I will not. Find the trace of A. Does someone know what do we mean by trace of A? So the trace of matrix. First of all, I need to define a matrix 5 cross 5 such that each element is this. I don't think you can do it right now because you need this. I will change it. Yeah, now we can do the problem. Okay. Define a magic matrix of size 5 cross 5, or we can say 5 simply. Then find the trace of A and find the dot product of row 3 and column 2 of A. So we will not need to submit it. Just be with me. I will show you how to solve it. Okay. First of all, it asks me to create a matrix A, that is A, which will be a magic matrix. So I already told you what is magic matrix in the earlier session. Magic of what is the size? 5. Okay. Now after that, it wants me to calculate the trace. What do we mean by trace? Trace is the sum of all the diagonal elements. I could have gone to the diagonal elements, then evaluated trace, but I know that I have a function trace which I can directly use and it will tell me the like determinant. Okay. The sum of diagonal elements of A, also the sum of which is also the sum of eigenvalues. You know that from the properties of eigenvalues is actually equal to trace of A. So I want to calculate the trace. So my trace value equal to trace of A. Similarly, then I need to find the dot product between row 3 row 3 and column 2 of A. So I will first of all write which one is my row 3. Row 3 equals A of, I have already told you indexing. A of row 3, comma all the columns. This will be my row 3. Now I need the column 2. So column 2 equals A of all the rows, comma 2. It means that all the rows with the column and the column 2. Now I need to calculate the dot product. So it will be dot product equal row 3 into column 2. Is this okay? What do you think? There is some issue. There will be some issue, which I expect. Okay, and you should also expect. Let me show you what will be the issue. Okay, script 4 is running. Okay, no, there will not be an issue because this is a column and a row. What we do in the column, what we did in this script is we created a magic matrix of order 5. Then we calculated its trace using the function trace, and its trace was 65. And now then we extruded the row 3 from the A and evaluated the column 3 from the A, column 2 from the A, and we multiplied them because one was a row, another was a column. If we multiply a row and a column, it will be a dot product. What if I do column 2 into row 3? Dot product, you know what do we mean by dot product of vectors? Okay, but I am expecting dot product to be scalar. What had happened? So this is a different story. You should always do one thing, that is write dot, so that you make sure, like whenever you want element wise operation, just write dot so that you are very sure that it is operating element wise. Now when you run, you will see that I need to calculate row and column. So dot product is between the row and column because I want my matrix to be only 1 cross 1. Dot product is a scalar, so it will be row. Row has a size, row 3 has a size 1 cross 5, and this will column 2 has a size 5 cross 1. So overall, when I multiply them, size will be 1 cross 1. That will be my dot product. And I run it, dot product will be 840. So facts quiz 2, we will just skip this and we will do another example. Second 5.m. Okay. What it tells me? It tells me that create a magic matrix A of size 4. Okay. I will not go to the other line. I will just first do this. I will create a. I will just write this command. Then I will create A equals magic of 4. Okay. Now it tells me that assign its main diagonal to another variable of B. That is, you create a variable B, assign its diagonal elements, which I assign it using the diagonal DIAG of A. Okay, then change the elements of A, B by their squares. What it means is that B should be replaced with, like each element should be square. It means B dot raised power 2. Okay, I am not suppressing the output so that you can know what has happened, what I was trying to do, and what has happened. Okay, let me just run this part. This is the first of all my window, this workspace cleared, command window cleared, and this is the magic matrix. Then I created the magic matrix. Then I stored my diagonal elements of A into B. You can see in the B what is stored: 16, 11, 6 or 1, 6 and 1. Now I am taking the I am changing the elements of B by securing each element of this. You can see now in the another third line, in the third command, 16 raised power 2 is 256, 11 raised power 2 is 121, 6 raised power 2 is 36, 1 raised power 2 is this. This is what is element wise operation. Okay. Now it tells me assign first row of A to C and last column of A to D. What does it tell me? Your C should be equal to first row of A of first row, comma, all the columns, which I already told you. Okay. And D should be equal to last column, A of all the rows, but column should be last. But I can either write here 4 directly because I know fourth one is the last column, but I will write here N because in case I don't know what is the last column, I will just write N. It will automatically take the last column, fourth column. You will just see it when it will print it, the command window. Okay, I'm just not just suppressing the output so that you can learn whether same is happening which I am intending. Okay, just now we will look what has happened so far. A has been created, B has been created, now B has been replaced with the secure values. Now what it wanted me to, what it wanted it from me to assign the first row of A to C. You can see what was my A, 16, 2, 3, 13. C is 16, 2, 3, 13 as demanded. Now D should be my last column. Last column was 13, 8, 12, 1. 13, 8, 12, 1. I hope you get it after this and we will follow. Now it tells me after that multiply first element of C with first element of D. Okay. This is row. This is column. Okay. What it tells us is multiply first element of C with first element of D. Multiply second element of C with second element of D. What it wants is 16 into 13. And then multiply 2 into 8. Then multiply 3 into 12. And multiply 13 into 1. Okay. I will do that. And call this new array as E. Store it in a new array. So E equals, what if I do C of C into C dot into D? Will it work? No, it is not working. Just see what it wants. I just want to give you thought about this. C is this, B is this. Then I directly multiply them, or this multiplication, sequence wise multiplication, it will only take some certain values and rest will be 0. You can see that only 4 values will be there which have these positions, specific positions, right? So what can I do now? I can just do the element wise operation if they are either both the same rows or they are both are columns. Like either both are row vectors or both are column vectors. I can easily change this D or this C. I can either change this to column vector or can just change to row vector by just simply taking a transpose. Now let us see what will happen. Okay, I am multiplying C, this is this row, with the transpose of this row. That means with the transpose of this row will be a row vector. And then they are multiplying it because I am using this dot, which means element-wise operation. First element will get multiplied with the first element only, and the second with second, which this problem wants me to do. Okay, run. Oh, sorry, this is raise power I'm doing. Sorry. Oh, okay. Now see. Earlier I was doing it exponent because I didn't notice that. You can see that C was 16 to 3 18. Now it's taking transpose of this and then multiplying with this. 16 into 13 is 208. 2 into 8 is 16. 12 into 3 is 36. And 1 into 13 is 13, as expected. Okay. Now it is telling me what is the combined sum of elements in B and elements in A. Elements in B are 25, 256, this, and this. Okay. And elements in this are this, and this, these four. What it wants me to, it wants me to calculate the combined sum of these two elements. What I will do is, I will calculate the overall sum. Overall sum equals sum of B plus sum of E. Sorry, that's what the problem. Now you can see, as expected, first A has been created as a magic matrix like this. Now B has been is with the diagonal elements like this. Then B has been updated with the square values using this command. After that, C is the first row of matrix A, and D is the last column of matrix A, and E is actually the element-wise operation between C and D as asked from this. And then overall sum is sum of B plus sum of A. Overall sum is 687. I hope that you got this. It would have helped you. And we will just skip this example. You can try it out. You can just watch the video later and try this also out. So we have already, this is showing that consider this is a practice quiz for plotting. To ask you to plot the sin x, cos x, and sin x in the range, and we have already done this type in the session 2 earlier when we did the basic plotting. So we will also skip this part. Now, there are some more tips for you, which include that you might have observed what I did is I always try to clear my workspace, which will then help me not to have much storage issues. I always try to clear my workspace before executing a new program. Whenever I was opening any new script, I used to write this clear and CLC. You might have observed it. This is what I mean from this. Okay. Sometimes when I write a very long programs, I want to take care that how much time does my program take to calculate all this. For example, clear and CLC, let us leave this. I will try to see how much time program takes in calculating all these. So there is a command which we call as tick tock. It means it acts just like a stopwatch. When I calculate tick, it means stopwatch has started. Okay. If I calculate tock, it means stopwatch has ended, and it will show me what is the elapsed time. Let me give it a try. Okay. You can see how much time MATLAB has taken to do this. Like to calculate this B, then calculate C, D, E, and overall sum, as well as printing all these command window. It has taken 0.0000918 seconds. You can see only away like 10 to the power minus 4 of a second. Okay, like even if I suppress the outputs, it might take only less time. Let us see. At this time, you may not be able to see it. You can just see how it reduces. It reduces from 0.009 to 0.005. Okay, and this is a small. It depends on overall computer performance, but I'm using MATLAB online. It will depend on the server as well as on the this. It will depend on server as well as it will depend on my internet connection. Okay. So you can keep track of the session using diary command. I will come back to this if I get time at the end, but I don't think this is so necessary at this stage. There are other things which we need to clear first, which are of higher priority. So sometimes you don't only want to just you have run a function or you run a script which runs, let us say, for hours and for days. It takes many days to run, and you want this this workspace to be saved as well. What you can do is you can just this is the workspace. Okay, if you go to the command window and click Control S, it means that save workspace variables. I will save it to my drive, MATLAB drive, and I will write it. Let us suppose that workspace 1 and workspace 1.mat, and I will save it. We can see that workspace 1 has been saved. Even if I now clear the workspace, okay, I still have it saved in a different file. If I just double click it, all the values will be back. Okay, or if I just load, right here, load workspace 1.mat. It will not help you. First of all, it's clear. Then load workspace 1.mat. You will see that workspace has been loaded again. Okay, just we can save it, or you can just I have just saved it using command window. You can using this Control S. You can just save it like this as well. Save workspace 2 dot. You can see now you have another workspace 2.mat which you have saved using the command. Okay, I hope you have got it. So there are some other advanced plotting options. Earlier we dealt with only basic plotting options. So I will show you a little bit of these. I encourage you to look at all these. I will show you how to calculate the log. Sometimes you might have seen when you go to geotechnical engineering or some like some sea analysis, grain size distribution. You will see many plots during the engineering which are either log plotted on the log scale or semi-log x or semi-log y. And this is just the plot if you want to plot objects and control the size of font size. You want to control the font size. You want to set the size of an image. Okay, what should be the dimensions of my image? You can do all that using this. I will show you how to use the command log scale. Let's see. Earlier what we have done is I will save the script. So x is my value from 0 to with the increment of 0.1 up to 100. Okay. Y is my exponential of x. Okay. This should be suppressive, that is suppressive. Now I plot. I will show you the difference x comma y. What is this? If I run, the figure would have been has been created here. You might be able to see. This is 0. Let's not go to 100. It will go to 10 only, so that figure becomes a little bit visible. Your exponent. Let's go to 5 only. So that, yeah, is this, let us do minus 5, 5. Is this the what you expect the nature of an exponential function? Okay. Now, if I plot the same graph using, no, I will not plot it. I will plot it semilog x, and this scale will be now x semilog x. Okay, you can see what is happening. Sorry, I will plot it as semilog y scale. You can see it is linear. Okay, because you know that whenever we take log of exponential, it comes out to be linear. So it changed the behavior. It changed our understanding. Sometimes we want this. You can see between this and this earlier. This is the linear scale. This is the log scale. Uh, this is a common difference. 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Okay. This has a common. This is just like a GP. 0 to 10, 10 to 100. This much space is as if it is GP, like a raised power or log. This is what we call as log. You can try all that out, and I propose the break of bio break of 7 minutes. We will join back at 2:15. In between, if you have any question, you can let me know. If not, then I will keep it like this, and I will be back. And all of you should also be back by 2:15.
Should I pause the recording, sir?
Okay. Thank you. And we are back to continue with our MATLAB using it as a programming language. For any programming language, we have certain conditions. We sometimes come across certain conditions which we need to evaluate, or we need to do a multiple stuff, and we do not want to repeat our efforts. For that, we need to know the control flow and operators, because we want to have a control over the full program. We want to it to work as we want, as per our directions. So let us look at this. So since MATLAB is also a programming language, it's not only a calculator, it's not only a toolbox, some simple toolbox, just as a programming language. Okay. So there will be decision making or control flow structures so that it controls the so that we control the command execution. Sometimes we write the command in the script, but it may be possible that we don't want it to execute. We want it to execute under certain conditions. We will look into that aspect. So, control flow, we will see if statements, like how we use the if, okay, and also the if else. Let's take an example. Let me close these scripts, and I will show you some small. Okay, I have created a script 8 using the command window. So use of if statement. Okay. Now we will use if statement. I will take some example. Let us suppose that I want to calculate the difference between the two numbers which I showed you earlier. I was having an option that we can calculate it using the absolute or we can say mod. But how can we calculate it using without using that mod? So the simple fundamental, if we think about this, the simple fundamental will go like that. I will just check. I will just ask it to give me the two input numbers. Okay. Then check the two, whichever is bigger, and subtract the smaller from the larger one. Okay. If I subtract the smaller for from the larger one, obviously the difference will be positive. But I do not want to do it using the explicit function which is there in the MATLAB. So I want to do it using my own script. I want to do it somehow. Okay. Let me check which script was it in which we had done that. Oh yeah, script 2. I will just copy this script and paste it here. So what will this do? As earlier, this will calculate the difference between the two numbers. Now I want to calculate the difference between the two numbers without using this absolute function. So what I will do now, I will use the if command. What does if command does? It has a syntax like this. Okay, I will just write an expression, then I will make you understand what it does. It will be easy to understand that. I will write if control C control if second number is less than first number, or I can say greater than, let's suppose greater than the first number. Okay, GIF difference equals. So what should be my difference? If second number is greater than first number, then control C. Then difference will be second number. Yeah, where am I? Second number minus the first number. Just think as if I am doing it. And okay, then if first number is greater than second number, okay, then difference equals first number whichever is greater minus second number. Okay, and there is one more possibility. If first number neither first number is greater or second number is greater, in that case what will be? It will be equal to. I have double equal to. It means that it is just asking to match. It just to cross verify if these are equal. If I have seen simple equal, that would have mean just to assign the value into a variable. as we have used this single variable here, single, just try to see what is the difference between, just look at the what difference between single equal sign and double equal sign. Okay. Just took what will this program do for me? Okay, clear? CLC. It will ask me to input the first number and second number. Then it will check if it will check this. This is what we call as condition. Okay, or we can say expression. If my inputted second number is greater than the first number, then it will execute this command. If this condition is right, if this condition is true, it will execute this command. Then it will store in the difference second number minus first number, and it will end this if statement. So after this comes out of this if statement, it will then move to this if statement. If first number is greater than second number, then difference will be first number minus second number, and it will end this if statement. Then it will come to check another condition. If first number is equivalent to second number, double equal sign means if this equals this two, check if this equals this, one equals two, variable one equals variable two, then it will set difference as zero. Let us try this out. So it asks you to enter your variable one and two. Difference is one. What it has done? I have inputted my first number as one and second number as two. So after this, it is okay. It has gone to this condition. If second number is greater than first number, so second number was obviously greater than first number. So what it does is it calculates the difference as second number minus first number, and this difference is written here. And then it checked the condition if first number is greater than second number. If one is greater than two, this condition was not satisfied. So this has not been this command inside if has not been executed because this condition has not been matched. Then it checked this condition if first number and second number are equal. This condition has not been matched, so this command has not been executed. Similarly, if I try, let us suppose difference, I will enter my first number as 5, then I will enter my second number as 2. It shows me difference is equal to 3. It means now my second number is smaller. Okay, my first number is greater. So when it after this, when it went to this line, it checked this condition. This condition was not satisfied, so it did not execute this line. What it executed is it then went directly to this line and see this line was executing, and it justly showed me that difference is equal to this. Okay, and this was not matched. This condition was not matched, so this has not been executed. Similarly, the third point would be if I write my first number as 19, second number as 19, it tells me that difference is zero. This is because I have inputted difference equal to zero because neither this condition has been matched nor this condition has been matched. So these two lines have been ignored, and this condition has been matched. This has been set as difference is set as equal to zero. I hope you get it. If you have any question, you can let me know. So, what else could I have done? What do you think could I have done? I will just open another script 9. And I will write this into this. I will now use if else. Okay. Like I could easily have done. I know that if second number is greater than first number, then my difference is this. Otherwise, I know that difference would be this number minus this number, and which will automatically cover this condition as well. Because if this condition is not satisfied, it means that there are two possibilities: either second number is less or is equal. Either second number is less or is equal. So what I will do is I will write here else. Okay, this is what we call as if else. With the if I have else. Okay, difference equals first number minus second number. I will just erase all this. Now, see, enter your first number 2, enter your second number 4. Difference is 2. What it has done is second number greater than the first number? Oh, yes, it has executed this command. So, since this command is executed, it will not go to else. It will just come to end, and if statement will end. Okay. Now, I will just run this script again, and I will input my first number as 5 and this number as 4. It shows difference equal to 1. So here what has happened? First number was 5 greater than the second number, and this condition has been violated. So when this condition number has been violated, it means that this will not be executed. What else it will do then? It will just go to this else statement. If this condition is not satisfied, then you have to execute this command. What all this means is that check this condition. If satisfied, execute this command. If not satisfied, then execute command which is in else. Okay, this is what has been done here. You'll see that if you like know more and more how much you can save like this. You have just squeezed this into this much, and you can do much more. Like when you get experience with all this. Okay, so there are other else if also. Like I want to calculate the uh, in this. I want to calculate. I want to check the other conditions. Like I want to check all the three conditions. These three conditions. Okay. What I will do is I will write else if. Then I will have to write a condition. So my condition will be if first number is greater than, you can see I think it is self-explanatory else if and all that. It's just like as if I am doing some normal English. Just now see what am I doing. Inputting these two numbers, asking the user to input the two numbers. Okay. Then checking the condition. If second number is greater than first number, this one will be calculated. Then it again else if this is not calculated, if this is not satisfied this condition, it will go to else if. Okay. And if this is, it will go to check this condition. If this condition is not also not satisfied, then it will go to else and do this, execute this command. Let me make it some juicy with some example. Enter your first number 5. Enter your first number 8. Second number. It calculates difference as 3 because in this condition uh, this condition has been seen, so it has executed this command and comes out of if loop. Okay. Then similarly, it's not just I can just write other commands as well if I want. In this condition, if I want multiple commands, I can just write here other commands like this and all that. So those will also be executed. Okay. Like I will show. What I want is, then I want to check the condition. If first number is greater than second number, then difference will be first number minus second number. If neither this condition nor this condition is satisfied, then go to these commands, else command, whatever is in else. Let's suppose I will enter. I will have my first number as 6, second number as 6. What it does is it shows me that because now neither second number is greater than first number, so this will not be executed, and this condition is not satisfied. This will also not be executed. What will be other than these commands? These two commands will be executed. The difference will be put equal to 0. Yes, difference is equal to 0 here, and it prints into the command window that your inputted numbers are identical because I inputted first number as 6, second number as 6. It shows me that your inputted numbers are identical. This is what I have written. I could have written some other message. It would have print accordingly. Okay. I hope this is well clear. Okay. Now, let's see. Whenever we set up any condition, we have used these greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, or sometimes we can use less than. When we use those equal to sign, we use this double equal to. Okay, all these are called as relational operators. Okay, this is greater than, less than. If you want to check the condition is greater than or equal to, if you want to check the condition as less than or equal to, if you want to equal to, if you want to check the condition, this is not equal to this. Okay, and this is the AND operator we will see, or operator we will also see, and not operator we will also see. So what a relational operator does? Okay, it compares the two numbers. This is a greater than sign. It compares the two numbers and determines whether statement is true or false. Just it does not give me this line does not give me the difference. It only calculates what is the difference between the second number and what is the difference. It only compares the first number and the second number, and if the statement is true, then it only determines whether the statement is true or false. Okay. If statement is true, it stores the value 1. If statement is false, it stores the value 0. That's what we call as logical. Okay. Like it will have only two values, either 1 or 0. Let us suppose I will have a equals 1 is greater than 2. Okay. I am comparing 1 and 2 and assigning this output to A. What will happen? A is logical 0. It means that A is a logical operator which contains 0. It means that it has compared a 1 and 2, and the condition which you have set is false. Since this is false, so A will have value 0. Similarly, if I write B is equal to 2 less or equal to 7, it shows yes, B is a logical operator with the value 1. Okay, because this compares 2 and 7, and yes, statement is true, so B has been assigned the value of 1. Okay, I hope you got it. This is the logical operator, what I said. So sometimes we may have multiple conditions. Okay, for example, I want the I want to measure the height as well as the gender of students in a class. Okay, let us suppose that I have some script 10. Okay, just a minute. Okay, let us suppose that I have multiple conditions to test here. Okay, so I want my script as enter your gender. Okay, so let us suppose that enter your gender. Okay, I will write enter your gender. Then I will write here gender gender is equal to this. and I will write here age. Enter your age. Just see, enter your age. Okay, what will happen? Now I want to see that if gender equals male, okay, and I want to test the two conditions here, and age is greater than 21, okay, I will print f. This is the script. What will you do? It will ask the user to input the gender, whether it is male or female. So I am assuming that I will just do it as per gender code code. It means one for male and two for female. Okay. Okay. So what I am planning to do is I am planning to write a script to judge to check the if as per law someone is eligible for marriage or not. Okay. So as per the earlier law, it depends on in our country it depends on whether you are a male or a female and what is your age. What will this do? It will ask a user to input your gender code. What is your gender? You need to assign one if you are male. You need to enter two if you are female. Okay, and then what input your age. When I do it, then it will go to check the condition. If gender is one, as well as if age is greater than 21, then okay, you can go for marriage as per law. Similarly, else if then it otherwise it will check the condition if gender is equal to it means that which means female and age is greater or equal to 18 as per the previous law, then you can go for the marriage as per law. Else it will ask it to that you need to wait. So I will run this code. Enter your code. Enter your gender code. Okay, I am male. I am pressing one. Enter your age 23. I am of age 23. I will enter. It shows me that okay, you can go for marriage as per law. Similarly, if I am running this code again with the two, and she has an age of 15, let us say, you need to wait. Okay, so this is just if else statement with combined logical operators. So what I want to emphasize here is that this one, this condition checks if your gender is male, as well as both, as well as age is less than 21, then you can go for marriage. Else if your gender is this female, as well as your age is greater than 18, you can go for marriage. Here you can see how I use it, this because just see, this will be because when I inputted these 2 and 15 as a values, what happened is that if gender is equal to 1, so gender was not equal to 1, so this value was 0. 0 and age was greater or equal to 21. No, 0 and 0, when we combine them using and, it comes out to be equal to 0. When this is 0, it means that condition is not satisfied. This will not be executed. It will just move to this. Check. It will just then check gender is equal to 2. Yes, gender was equal to 2 in this case. So this will be equal to this will be equal to 1. Now it combines it with the and then if age is equal to 18, greater or equal to 18, but this was not. This is 0. It means that 1 when combined with and with the 0, it is equal to 0. Therefore, this is this condition is also not satisfied. This will not be printed. This will not be executed. Only this command will then be executed. Else, you have to execute this command. So this command will be executed. You need to wait. I hope you have got this. How we use the operator, and or else you could have just used it like this as well. Like, let me show you. Okay, I could have used it and command like this as well. A and D and comma this. It would also do. Well, this is the one condition. This is another condition, and they are connected by the AND operator. Similarly, I could have used it there. Let me check if it works. If it works fine. It's just I'm showing you how can you check the conditions. I am male. Suppose I have an age 23, and why it did not? Oh, okay. I was supposed to write it in a small lowercase letters. 123. Yeah, it shows me that you can go for the marriage as per law. Okay. Now, this is when we wanted our control flow. Now we want to do some things. Now we want repeatedly. Okay, 100 times, 15 times. Okay. For that, we use what we call as loop. So in loop, what usually happens is let me take you through an example. Okay, I will create a vector. Vector equals 1 to 5. 1, it means that in the vector it will contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to sum all the elements. I could have easily written sum of vector equals sum of this. Let me write it as V and V. Okay. If I You see, it shows me what are the values between 0, like what are the values between this sum of fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because when I write v is this, v is contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it calculates the sum. Now I don't know. I do not want to calculate it using this. This is for the learning purpose. I don't want to calculate it using the input function. I want to calculate it somehow differently. How? What will I do? I need to go to this element, then add this element, then add this element, and add this element, this element. Okay. All if I add all these elements, this will be sum. Obviously. So what I will do is I will also to go for the for loop. What does for loop does? Okay. It has this. I want to go. First of all, I will check how many times I need to go inside the loop. Okay. I will go for I equals. Like I do not need to initialize the variable. Let us suppose that I am creating a variable as uh, index. Okay. Ind x index equals 1 to 1 to n, but I don't know what is n. So n is equal to length of x. Okay, and so inside this is this. What will happen is that in the for loop, it will assign the when I write this condition, it will create a variable index and assign it the variable one. Okay, and then go to the loop inside other commands. I will write it some someone some or my sum equals, because earlier I my sum was did my sum was 0. Okay, because in the my sum it was 0. My sum now contains my sum plus d of I n d x. Can someone let me know what is happening? Just see. I am creating a vector v from v to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I am calculating n as the length of x, length of sorry, length of v, which means how many number of elements are contained in v that will be stored in n. Then I initialize my variable. I call a variable. I store a variable as y sum. My sum because initial sum is nothing. So initial sum is 0. Now I want to go to the. I create a variable. What does this for loop does is it creates a variable index, assigns it to a variable one, and then goes to this. And my sum will now be equal to earlier my sum plus will be v of index. Now currently my index is 1. Okay. Earlier my sum was 0. It will be added with the first value of this, and then automatically inside the for loop what will happen is that index will get higher value. That is, index will be increased by 1 automatically. I don't need to do this. This is what is being done by for loop. Then when it is automatic index, now index will be equal to 2. Okay. As now the index will be equal to 2, because I am writing here index is 1 to 2 up to 9. Now second will be index equal to 2, and after index is equal to, because my sum has now has some values. Okay, when it has some values, its value will be updated with the summed up with the second number. Similarly, it will go to the index equal to 3, and my sum will now be updated with the element correspond added to the with the element corresponding to the number 3. Similarly, it will move up to n because I have here six, five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 elements. Okay, let us see what happens because I have not suppressed the commands. I will just let you know when I run this script. Let me clear it and for the So when I run the command, vector v has been created as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and with n equals, and now n has is the length of v. 5 elements are connected. Earlier my sum was 0, okay, and now like my sum is 0. Now when the it entered in the first loop, it what it did is v, my sum was earlier 0, it took 0 plus it uh, added it to the v of 1, because currently my index is 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Now it stores 1 in the my sum. Okay. Similarly, now when it moves to the second iteration, because when you want to do iteratively something, that's where we use the loops. When it moves to the second, what it does is my sum is now 1. It updates it with the value plus this one. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now my sum contains 3. It will move to the another loop and add plus 3. Now value will be added 6. Again it will move to the another loop, another iteration. Add earlier my sum was 6. Now it will add it to 4 and it is 10. Now it is 10. Calculation have been calculated, executed up to this point. Now what it will do is it will now go to the last step and add the last element here to the previous sum, 10 plus 5. This is what my sum is. This is what it's called as 15. Or some other example. Okay. I don't want to calculate the sum. What I what I want is I want to print the numbers. Okay. V of index. Simple. I don't know how many numbers are, what are the numbers contained in V. See what it will do. So V has been created with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now when it runs during the first iteration, it sees what is the V of I. It means that first element. First element is 1, second element is 2, 3, 4, 5. If I would have done it earlier, I would have to write the C V of 1, then I would have to write V of 2, I would have to write V of 3, and similarly, I would have to write V of 4 and V of 5. See, both of these do the same job. Earlier, these 5 lines have done like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I just used the loop. Earlier had done this one. Now this loop have printed the same thing as like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you can see if I have 1 to 50 or long routes, can I do it manually? V of 1, V of 2, V of 3. At least I won't do it. So what I will do is just see, I either only change here 50. Control S and run it. It will show all the 50 values. Okay. Similarly, if even if I have thousands, so what is the concept is that for loop is used to automate the process. When you want to do something iteratively for a limited number of steps or for a limited number of iterations, you can use the for loop. Okay, and what is the index for the for loop? You write for and then you write the number of iterations. Or I could have written like this. Just see, I want I want just this second and the third element only: 2, comma 3, comma 10. Okay, comma 35, comma 47. I want these elements. I will create V vector V with 100 elements up to 100. No, 0.5 with a difference of 0.5 up to 50. So what will be V created as? V will be created as 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 up to 50. Okay. And now I want what is at my second number, what is at my third number, what is at my third element, what is my 10th element. This. So what this will show me? This shows me your second number is 1.5, your third number is 2, your 10th number is 5.5, 35th number is this. So what it does is, for index, it first of all index takes the value 2, and which is used here. Then it again goes to this loop and it takes the value 3, second element. It again comes here. Then it takes the value 10. It again comes here, evaluates this expression. Then again comes here, it takes the next in the iteration, whatever is there, and comes here similarly. So here what you define is you define an array of numbers and which you store in index. This is automatically iterated and then you use it inside the loop. Okay. So there's a concept of nested loops, which we will do after 10 minutes. Okay. Uh, we will pause here and we will join back at 3:10. I want to have some water. And we will join back at 3:10. Linda, you can
Okay, sir.
pause the recording if you wish to.
Okay, sir. I'll pause the recording.
Thank you. So, what I told you that there is a concept of nested loops. Okay. Let me edit. Let me do a script tutorial. So, I will introduce the concept of nested loops. Okay. So I will explain this. A nested loops means that we want to introduce a loop inside a loop. Okay. Let us suppose that for I we have A as a any matrix 2 cross 2, 1 space 2, 5 space 8. Okay. This is my A. Okay. I want to calculate its A square, but A square element wise operation. So ASQ will be equal to A dot raised power 2. So it calculated 1 raised power 2, 2 raised power 2, 5 raised power 2, 8 raised power 2. But now I want to calculate it using loops. So what I will do is I will go to for loop, because the concept is that I will just first reach to this element and then reach to this element, then reach to this element, like, and then reach to this element. After I reach to element 1, I will secure it. Then I will reach to element this and then I will secure it. Similarly, I will reach to element this and secure it, element this to secure it. Okay. For I runs from, let us suppose my row. Okay. Row will be equal to 1 to, because I don't know the size of the matrix. First of all, I will get the size of matrix m comma n equals size of A. Okay. Similarly, so what will happen now? Number of rows of m, number of rows will be added to the variable m, number of columns will be stored in n. So I will go from row number 1 to, I want here row equals this 1 space 2 space 3 space up to the number of rows. So I don't know. I will just create an array using 1 to m, 1 to m number of rows. Then I will go to another loop. I will write the loop, then I will make you understand. You will be able to. Now let me make you understand what am I doing. Just see, even if I don't write this, I have an A matrix 1 to 5, 8. Then I store the number of rows, number of columns in M and N. Then I go to the loop. So how will I do is I will first go to the each row. Whenever I have a matrix, I will go to each row. Then I will go to second row, then third row, and inside each row I will go to each column. When I am inside each row, I will go to first element, then second element, then third element. So what I need to go, I will select my row. For row runs from 1 to m. First of all, it will select the first row. Row will be equal to 1. So my variable row will be equal to 1. Then it will select the variable as variable 1 is equal to column is equal to 1. Then it will get a matrix ASQ, and in which it will store the row index with the index row, which is 1 as of now, and then it will store it with the column with the index column. It will use the element corresponding to the row and the column number from the matrix A and square it and assign it to this. And similarly, when this is assigned, this loop will be continued, and this will again go to this loop. Okay, and then it will go for the column second one, column 2. And we are still in row 1, it will go to column 2. And when it reaches the n number of columns, it will just come out of this loop and then go to this loop. Now earlier row was 1, now row will be 2. It will go to row 2. When it will go to row 2, it will go to another loop to check the column. First of all, it will go to column 1 again. Then it will do the operation which I want to care of an element. And then it will again go to this in the same row, because it will go to this loop again. Same column, same row with a different column, and do the operation, come out of this loop, then check if it needs to do this and come out of the loop. You will understand it by this. Okay, let's see what has happened. Okay. See, because ASQ was earlier also determined. Let's see. This is the pretty good example, because A has been created, then sizes have been allocated to the M and N. Now it goes to it stores in the row 1 and column 1. It creates a variable ASQ, and it creates at its element 1 comma 1. It takes the value from A matrix A of 1 comma 1, which is 1, and squares it, which will be 1. And when it goes to the next loop, okay, I have already told you it will go to the same row but the second column. Now, as it goes to the second column, it adds this to this matrix at a different column at the same row, because now the row is same 1, another, but the column is 2. It will add corresponding element to cos square, which is 4. Similarly, when it will go to the second row, it will add 25, and in the next loop, it will add this 64. This is how we calculated the A dot square using the nested loop, and we have compared it with the, if we would have calculated it using what? Square A equals A dot, you can see this, and this is common. Here I wanted to introduce the concept of nested loops, which is the one loop inside the another loop. Similarly, we can use, let me now take you through on the concepts, not with examples. Similarly, what we can do is we can use, instead of, like, it is always good idea to intend the loops. Just see, in indent means that I could have written it like this. This and just with this, but it would have meant the same thing. But this looks like that, as if this does not make sense. When I indented the loops, it, it gives me enhanced readability. Like I can see that, first of all, like as if this is separate and this is associated with this, and inside this loop, this will be created. So you should always follow the indentation rules, so that which will help you to keep your code clean. Another loop is while. Okay, what is the difference between for and while? Is that here we are going through a loop for a limited number of elements. Okay, for example, earlier I had this. I was going for a limited number of this elements. Now I don't know how many times I want to run my loop. For that, I will use while. Let me show you this here. क्या नाम हो गया, जो भी हो गया, whatever the name is. So I am creating a vector from 1 to 0. With the difference of 0.5 to 50, up to 50. Okay. Now I am checking that while number is less than 20, print display I equals, let us suppose that I and dx equals 1. First of all, so that this is required during the while loop to initialize the indexing, which was not required during for loop. This is the one of the difference. I will calculate number equals, or I will just write element so that it may not confuse with the terminology. Let's see. So I am creating a vector from 1 with the difference of 0.5 up to 50, and I am initializing a variable index with the value 1. Now I am taking while until, oh, which means until my element is less than 20. Okay, but I don't know what my element is. Okay, for that to initialize, I need to select element, and suppose I will keep it less than 20, which is 0. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to display the numbers in this matrix, in this V, until these numbers are elements are less than 20. So this will check the condition if element is less than 20. So initially I have kept element 0. So this will be true, and all these will be executed. All these commands will be executed. So element now will take the value of first V of 1. which is the first value from this V, and it will display it in the command window. Then it will change the value of index to index plus 1, because now it will go to second, it will go to third. Similarly, until and unless element is less than 20, it will go on. I don't know how many times it will go on, but it will go on until and unless this condition is satisfied. Okay, let me check. Let us check it now. Okay, you can see what has happened. V has been created like this. Now index was earlier 1, element was 0, and what it did was, while element was 1, while element was 0, it was less than 20, it took element from the first element V of 1, and this was 1. It wrote to the command window display of element 1. Then it changed the index by index plus 1. Now the index is 2. It will again go to check the loop, and since element is less than 20, it will go to check this loop. If this is less than, then it will put the element. Okay, in the it will evaluate the element as V of another number. Similarly, display and index. It will continue. This loop will continue until this is not. This is true. So this comes out to be true until element is 20. So this is continuously, and we need to update the index. Okay. So the difference between the for and while loop was that we didn't know the number of elements in while, so which could lead us that it could lead us to an indefinite loop. Let us suppose that we are not indexing, we are not updating our index. What will happen? Let us run this loop. It's continuously printing 1, 1, 1, 1. You can see how much this is printing. 1, 1, 1 is being printed. You can see. So this goes to indefinite loop, because every time index is equal to 1, and it is going to V of 1. V of 1 is 1, and it is continuous. Still is taking values of 1, 1 and printing it to the command window. Okay. Since it is displaying these elements, now this is what we call as indefinite loop. You should always take care, because index does not iterate itself. You need to take care of that. So I will press Control C to abort this operation. So I press Control C. This is showing me that operation terminated by user, which I have earlier told you how you can terminate the operation. So you should take care of these. Now inside these while loops, there are many things you can work out, which you should also try. Like just try the break statement in the while loop and the for loops, because sometimes you may want that your condition is already satisfied in some case, and what you may want is let me go back to the slide I was okay. So sometimes you may want to break the loop. Just try the break statement. And sometimes just try break statement in while and for loop. You can just click help break, and MATLAB will tell you how to use the break statement and what it does. Similarly, continue statement, you can try it in for loops since we don't have time to do this. And also you can try other functions, return, continue, and switch. And switch has the syntax which is followed here. Okay, just in the MATLAB write help switch, and it will tell you all the details. Okay. Earlier, I had told you about the hierarchy of operations. Here is the operator precedence. First of all, whenever we write any expression, you should take care how this will be evaluated by the MATLAB, whether you want actually to be evaluated it like that way or some different way. First of all, in the matrix, parentheses will be evaluated, and at the second precedence goes to transpose, power, and matrix, and Then unary plus, minus, or logical animation. Similarly, you can after that addition, colon operate, and all these. So these are the some of the functions which we do in the file when we try to read the external files from the MATLAB. For example, I have a data in some Excel file. I have a data in some text file. I want to read it to the MATLAB. I will not copy and paste. I will not just input. What I will do is I will write f open. It will open my file. Then I will give the file name. It will open that file. Or f read. It will read that file. After that, f scan is if there are values and in a file in some text file, and I want to read them as a single column. Similarly, if I want to read line by line, this is what I can do. If I want to read the formatted data for the text file, I can use this command text scan. I can also use import data. You can get help from the MATLAB, how to use, what are the syntaxes for that. I was planning to do it, but due to the cancellation of session 1, we could not complete it. So, and also, not only you can read the data from the files, you can write the data to the files. You can use fwrite. You can use fprintf. We have used it to write to the command window, but I have used it to earlier in my project to write it to the other TCL files, other TXT files as well. And then I can close the Excel file. I can even read or write or change the Excel files using MATLAB by using XLS read or XLS write. It will be used to read or write to a separate sheet. Okay. Make sure that you will always be getting errors in your MATLAB or in any other programming. You should know what we call as debugging. And sometimes if we get time at some later stage, we'll have a separate session on debugging where you will know how to you can isolate and fix errors in your program. Errors could be due to syntax errors, or it could be due to runtime errors. Because syntax errors usually come up because you may be sometimes omitting them because you have seen it multiple times during all the session 1, 2, session 3. I made multiple mistakes. Sometimes I misspell a function. Sometimes I was supposed to write this fprintf, so I was writing frintf. So all these mistakes usually happen. You should know what are these, how to fix these errors. And sometimes models produce or your codes produce unexpected results. You are not expecting those things. So you should look into that and see where actually the things are going wrong. And there are particular steps to debug your code which will help you out. So the debugging process usually follows this pattern. You prepare, you open, save, and make sure that all the files are contained in a directory which you intend to. And then you set breakpoints. Breakpoints could be of either standard breakpoint, conditional breakpoint, error breakpoint. And then we run our M files with the breakpoints, and then we step through those MATLAB files. We examine the values. We check whether the values are exactly those which we want, and then we correct the problems. We end the debugging file, and then we again correct the M file until and unless all the errors are fixed. Okay. Similarly, we have gone through the basic plotting. If we go to the advanced graphics, you can just change the line color, line style, marker, cross style. You can even change the line width. You can just automatically save it using multiple lists. You can use the figure numbering as well, which we have not used it. X label, Y label, we have used the title. You can control the how many ticks you want on your X label, on your X axis, how many ticks you want on your Y axis. Similarly, you can export the figures. You can save it in the different formats, in the PNG format, in the DMeta format, in the JPG format. Similarly, in the meta format, which will be for MS Word. Okay. Some of the inputs for the good facts of programming, which you should always take care is that overall the goal is that we want to achieve automation with little to no user intervention. So I have multiple times used the command input dot. So that this was for illustration. You should avoid it as long as possible. Okay. And then the scripts which we write, the functions which we write, they should be easy to debug, because if they sometimes give us an error, it should be easily that we can debug it, we can remove the errors, and they should be quickly that we should quickly apprehend them when we revisit after months or years. So for that, you need to do two things. One is you need to comment it rigorously, and second is you need to choose the variable names which are self-explanatory. As I was choosing my sum, sometimes I was choosing variable names, sometimes I was choosing overall sum, like that. And you should avoid non-linear flow of controls. That is, first of all, you should make a flow chart, how you want your program to process, how you want the things to process. Then you should accordingly do. This will help you save a lot of time. And your program should be optimized for time. It should not take lot of like smaller computations. Will should not take lot of time. Okay, or because as I have told you that the case of indefinite loop, you should take care of those. And the code or script should be like that, which is easily understood by others, and it is optimized for the memory, which it takes the least storage possible. And you should always avoid the hard coded values, which you will learn with time. You should not worry about this. And you should always take care of when you set acceptable tolerance during your conversions. Whenever you use functions which have iterative solutions, because this may always not be zero, so you should use some tolerance values because there are floating point errors in MATLAB or in any other software. This is the limitation of the computer. You should always do the indentation to enhance your code readability and comment as long as possible. I know that most of us will not do the commenting, and but at least if you not do the commenting, but make sure that you use the suggested variable names or sections in the cell effect, and use many small functions. Do not try to write large functions. If you have a large function, just try to break it down in some small functions so that it will be easy for the later. So the point is, how do we effectively program? The overall is that you should organize everything from the start and make your fundamentals clear. You should not jump, because if you jump, you will end up with a lot of confusion and you will have to come back to your basics again. With this, that if you make your fundamentals clear and then gradually upgrade, not jump, it will save you a lot of time in coding. And this has happened with me in multiple cases. And coding is something which you can't learn by just watching the videos, just by learn what is other one doing. You have to fiddle around with the code. If you get some code, just see what is it doing. Try to make some change and see what other different results you are getting. So because it's easy to read about the loops, variables, and getting all the things in your head, processing, but actually actual program does not work in this way, because you have to get your hands dirty. And you should, if you try to code by hand, like before starting the code on computer, this will give you a deep and clear understanding of the syntax and algorithms, and which makes a deeper connections in your brain. You should try this out. And good code should always be maintainable, reusable, and should be easily testable by others. Write useful comments and use a coding standard for naming conventions. And try to automate the boring stuff using loops, using other control flows, and also share with others your experiences. Just teach someone or discuss with and ask for help. Because whenever you learn programming, do not hesitate or feel shy in asking for help. There's a lot of help available. You can use the online resources, whether paid or unpaid, and try to use debugger, because whenever you will enter the you will have errors. Try to use the debugger. And when you program, do not program for like many hours continuously. Okay, just take breaks if you get some error, because you will learn coding in chunks. It will help you to stay away from headaches and frustrations. Because if you have an error, this won't be going anywhere, but at least you will have some energy to improve your productivity. And the important thing is that you should sleep, exercise, and stay resilient as far as possible to put your brain in a strong position. Okay. The other topics you should look into is that how do we use characters, how do we use cells, how do we use floating point structures, how do we use symbolic mathematics, which I was yesterday telling about the integrals. How do we use it, which you should look into. And there are other advanced data types which I recommend you to go through. Advanced graphics, how to optimize your program. And the other thing is how to use the Java sensitivity studies, how to take up these, and how do you interact with the other software packages. And how do, like, for example, what I do is I have a software called OpenSys. I don't use OpenSys separately. I just call OpenSys from the MATLAB and use it from the MATLAB only, as if I'm using only MATLAB. Parallelization is sometimes you want to increase the speed of your program and you want to create mm, use the multiple your PC has multiple processors. You want to use them at a simultaneous time. So you should use that parallelization, which can be used using parallel for or for parallel pool. You can do that. The important thing is what if you get an error in coding? Because getting an error is very common in coding. You should never panic, and but instead you should start working on it. Some of the insight which I personally share is that just look out for the typo. If some parenthesis is missing or variable function is misspelled, and choose good code editors that allow syntax highlighting, which I already recommended that for the MATLAB, you should choose the inbuilt MATLAB editor because this has a lot, many facilities as compared to others. And read the from top and the bottom of the error message because I have seen I have showed you multiple error messages where there were multiple hints inside the error message and which were giving a clue what we have done wrong. And you should use the online resources very clearly to separate the wheat from the chaff. You know that you are very smart. And as far as possible, just avoid the older resources. Try to use a new one. Sometimes that may lead us to the compatibility issues. And the important point is that you should learn what error codes mean. So some of the suggested resources that this is one of the book which if you want to use the program for as an engineer, MATLAB as an engineer, then you should go on this. Okay. Similarly, this is the MATLAB Center. You will find a lot of codes, lot of scripts shared by others, okay, which you may find useful, or you can just post your questions. Someone else may come to your help, or there might already be questions posted which you are searching for, and others have replied and they have got help. You can get your things from there. Okay. Thank you. If you have any questions or feedback, else let me take it through an if and else statement. Thank you. If you have any questions and feedback, that's welcome. Else, I hand it over to Lavender. Thank you, everyone, for providing such an opportunity. And I hope that at least this would have helped you because you would not have learned MATLAB fully because this is not the case and this is not humanly possible. You will learn everything in the MATLAB in 1 or 2 days. But the overall goal of the workshop was that it will help you to get started. Okay, to get started with the MATLAB, just get a basic feel of what is being done in the MATLAB. Basic feel, only a very basic feel, so that you can try out other things. So if you have any feedback or welcome, or any questions, you are welcome. Otherwise, it's over to Leander because it's almost approaching 4. We need to conclude it before 4.
Hello, participants. If you have any doubt or any query, you may ask sir about it.
So I will stop here that I can see the people who are there. Now I can see people. I think people can see me.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So I'll just conclude the session now, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your words of wisdom. And I'm sure I learned a lot and all the participants also did. Thank you, sir, once again for giving such insights about the software. And thank you, everybody, for taking part in this informative session. Before we conclude this session, I would request all the participants to turn on their cameras as we are about to take a snap of all the participants that have joined this meet.
So if you have any confusions later as well, Don't worry. You can just email me. I have shared my email ID multiple times during the session via presentation. You can let me know if you want any other help, personalized help. And I would request everyone to fill the feedback forms, which will be floated by organizing committee, ESC chapter.
So I have clicked the snaps. And one important announcement is that please do fill the feedback form, as your certificates will be assigned to you after you have filled the feedback form, and it will directly be visible in your mail IDs. So yeah, thank you all the participants for joining. And we have reached the end of today's session. Stay cautious, stay safe, and thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lavender, and the other organizing committee. I thank you
Thank you,
for
sir.
your patience and bearing with me all the 2 days.
It was a good session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.